Consider this, in the US alone, we throw away 2.5 million plastic bottles every hour. Each one takes 500 years to decompose. Can you picture the magnitude of this problem? It's a towering mountain of waste, a testament to our throwaway culture, and it's not just plastic bottles. How about the humble grocery bag? It takes between 500 and 1,000 years to degrade. Every square mile of our oceans carries approximately 46,000 pieces of floating plastic. We're practically paving the moon with the number of bottles and cans we discard, but there's hope. Recycling paper, for instance, uses 70% less energy than making it from scratch. It's a start. It's a way to chip away at the mountain. With these alarming facts in mind, let's delve into the history of waste and recycling. Recycling isn't a modern concept. As far back as the late 1800s, peddlers acted as early recyclers. These were the men and women of the road who would journey from town to town with their wagons, collecting and selling unwanted household items. They were the pioneers of recycling, long before the term was even coined. Among these early recyclers were the rag and bone men, a distinctive breed of peddlers. They would amble along the streets, calling out for any unwanted household items. Their name, rag and bone men, came from the fact that they would collect rags for paper manufacturing and bones for various uses, including button making and gelatin production. They were essentially early waste management experts, ensuring that nothing went to waste. This concept of reusing and recycling wasn't limited to these peddlers. In fact, it was a way of life in agricultural communities before the 20th century. In a world where resources were scarce, nothing was considered waste. Everything had a purpose, a second life. For example, in the Middle Ages, tanners would collect urine, a waste product we'd typically shy away from, to use in tanning animal skins or making gunpowder. Even bones, which we might consider useless today, were highly valued. They were used for making buttons, gelatin for food processing, photography, and even glue and paper making. This ethos of reuse and recycling was deeply ingrained in these societies. But as we moved into the 20th century, this mindset began to shift. The Industrial Revolution brought about a surge in production, and with it, a surge in waste. Expert knowledge of handiwork skills and materials, once considered invaluable, became obsolete. Leftovers and scraps that were once seen as resources were now considered trash. And thus began the era of waste, an era that we are still grappling with today. As we moved into the 20th century, our attitudes towards waste began to change dramatically. Over the past 100 years, the waste humans produce has skyrocketed by over 10,000%. Now let's pause for a moment and think about that staggering increase. It's not just a statistic, it's a testament to our changing habits and lifestyles since the late 1800s. Take, for instance, the humble plastic bag. It seems harmless enough, right? But did you know that a single plastic bag from your local grocery store takes between 500 and 1,000 years to degrade? That's longer than the lifespan of several generations of your family. Then there's the issue of our oceans. They're not just bodies of water, they're the lifeblood of our planet, yet every square mile of these precious resources is polluted with about 46,000 pieces of floating plastic. A sobering thought, isn't it? Our throwaway culture has even extended to the products we use. Consider our electronic devices, for example. Every year, over 50 million tons of e-waste, including computers and cell phones, are created. This is akin to filling a line of garbage trucks halfway across the earth, and most of these products are designed to be disposable. Some companies even design their products' battery life to fail after a couple of years, forcing us to buy newer models. But it's not all doom and gloom. We have the power to change this narrative. By recycling and reusing, we can significantly cut down on waste. It takes 70% less energy to recycle paper than to make it from raw materials. And if we were to recycle just 1/10 of our newspapers, we could save over 25 million trees every year. The waste explosion is not a phenomenon we can ignore. It's a reality that affects us all, regardless of where we live or what we do. And the consequences of our waste production are far-reaching and devastating. But remember, we have the power to make a difference. Every little step we take towards reducing, reusing, and recycling can help turn the tide. The consequences of our waste production are far-reaching and devastating. But it's not too late to change. Let's do our part to save our planet for ourselves and for future generations. Despite the grim picture, there's hope in recycling. Did you know that if Americans recycled just 1/10 of their newspapers, we could save over 25 million trees every year? The power of recycling is truly immense, with the potential to drastically reduce our waste and the devastating effects it has on our environment. Recycling isn't just about reducing the amount of waste we produce, it's also about conserving our resources and energy. For instance, did you know it takes 70% less energy to recycle paper than to make it from raw material? That's a significant reduction in energy consumption just by choosing to recycle. And the benefits of recycling extend far beyond our energy bills. Every year, Americans throw out enough bottles and cans to reach the moon and back 20 times. Imagine if all those bottles and cans were recycled instead. We could significantly reduce the amount of waste filling our landfills and polluting our oceans. But recycling doesn't have to stop at paper, bottles, and cans. Innovative concepts are emerging that take recycling to a whole new level. Take EcoPod. For example, a British company that offers coffins made from 100% recycled paper. Or consider the New Zealand skipper who, after getting liposuction, recycled his fat into biofuel to power his eco-boat. These are just a few examples of the creative ways we can repurpose waste and benefit our environment at the same time. Recycling is more than just a trend, it's a responsibility we all share to protect our planet and ensure its sustainability for future generations. By recycling, we can significantly reduce our waste, conserve our resources, and lessen our impact on the environment. So, next time you're about to throw something away, take a moment to consider if it could be recycled. You'll be doing your part to conserve our planet's resources, reduce our waste, and perhaps even inspire others to do the same. Recycling holds the power to significantly reduce our waste and its impact on the environment. It's time we take this responsibility seriously.